Man, if you guys saw this week's episode, I think a lot of us are in a frenzy right now. But I'm going to try to explain that when I get to that point. Now, in this week's episode of Yuri on Ice, episode 5, it's the first competition that Yuri is participating in hopes that he can move on and win to move on to the Cup of China, then on to Russia, and then eventually the Grand Prix finals. Of course, we're introduced to this new character by the name of Minami Kendro, the same person that beat Yuri a year ago, and now Yuri has to face against this competitor once again. One thing I have to say is automatically Minami is one of my favorite characters in this series, simply because of his personality, his character. He is like a ray of sunshine. Even his performance was something that you cannot draw your eyes away from because of how eye-catching, and it practically just signified what type of person he is and how great of a sportsman he is. He gives, credit to many people that participate in this sport figure ice skating, and the fact that he's always willing to motivate people, even to the point he's like, this may be his best score yet, his top best score. I hope he does great. That's the type of person Minami is. He doesn't put down people. He elevates them, and when he elevates them, they go out there and do their very best. Also, the fact that, I kind of didn't like how Yuri treated him kind of in the beginning, because Minami is shown to be a big fan of Yuri. Like, he's a huge fan from the day Yuri started on ice and has been competing for many years. And he kind of found that when Yuri was talking bad about himself, he got quite upset that Yuri was, almost in a way insulting himself and insulting the fact that Minami was, looking up to him as a figure, as someone that he can admire from afar and also hope to gain his recognition from. Of course, he did redeem himself. I'll admit that, but it was kind of rude in a way on Yuri's part. His routine as well was very, very beautiful. It had the same animation that we saw back in episode 1 with Victor. The arc kind of did suffer a little, but it's nothing that it took away from the performances of the performances from both these characters, which was done really well. Now, the part that I believe everybody was getting crazy over was when Yuri was doing his conference and he was explaining about his theme, which is love. Now, prior to Victor coming into the storyline, prior to Victor coming into Yuri's life, we have known that Yuri was practically, he could not connect with the term of love. He was closed off to it. And ever since Victor came into his life, and Victor is all about love, whether it's, with a partner, a lover, a girlfriend, or from the love of someone else, Victor was all about that and was trying to teach Yuri what love is. And of course, Yuri has grasped what that love is by saying that his love for his family, Victor, and his hometown is an abstract love, like a love that doesn't have a proper form, but he just didn't realize it, like he had love surrounding him. And he goes on to say that, Victor is the first person that he has ever wanted to hold on to. And the fact that because he wanted to hold on to Victor, the emotions that he has for Victor is something that he cannot name that emotion, but he has decided to call it love. Now, when you hear that, you're like, oh my God, he just confessed on national television that, oh my God, he said he loved Victor. You have to take into the context that it wasn't like a direct saying that he loves Victor, because Yuri doesn't know exactly what he feels for Victor. He knows it's somewhat of a form of love, but like what type of love it is. What type of love? Is it a romantic? Is it a platonic? Because there's many forms of love. But what he does feel, when he does connect to Victor, is love. It's love. And just that connection is enough to anchor emotionally for how the series will continue to go on forward, which I found the way that they were able to put it out and, execute it was done very well. I was very surprised on how they were doing that, and it gets me even more excited to see how these two will develop in the later episodes. So this episode was once again a really well done job for this week's episode, and I cannot wait for when Yuri gets into the competition at the Cup of China. But there is some sad news. I'm sorry to say, but I checked, I'm the type of person that whenever I watch anime, I kind of want to know how much episodes a series will have, whether it's 12, 13, 24, 25, or 50 episodes or whatever. And I was looking up because I've been wondering how much episodes Yuri on Ice will have. And I did remember seeing a post saying that, like, the director of this series has not greenlit or has not started working on a season 2 because they want to see how well season 1 does with its sales and everything. And when I was looking up how much episodes Yuri on Ice will have, it came to the conclusion that on many websites has said that Yuri on Ice will end on December 22nd, 2016. And that means we are getting a total of 12 episodes, which makes me think possibly, how they're going to bring in all these other characters into the series, because we have at least probably 5 or 6 more characters to bring into the series who Yuri has to go up against. And I'm like, how they're going to, finish off the rest of these episodes. I'm not trying to rush the series or anything, but it just makes me kind of think of all these possibilities of how the story is going to go on from now on. By next week, it's going to be the halfway point, and we're going to see how they're going to take it from there. But nonetheless, I'm not going to fret too much. I'm going to enjoy the ride for as long as I can. But if you guys saw this week's episode of Yuri on Ice, please do drop a comment down below on how you felt about this week's episode. The links are always in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later. Bye!